Dodowa command of the Ghana Police Service arrests 60-year-old suspect who defiled a 4-year-old girl at Afienya. Now, the Dodowa District Police Commander Superintendent Kwesi Fori told Joy News the police is looking at charges to be preferred against the grandmother who took money and refused to disclose what had happened to the girl.
So far, preliminary investigation, disclosed that defilement will be appropriate, and he will soon be put before court. Defilement is not a bailable offense, and that subject is in custody, and we are just waiting, for the court to resume, from the festivities.
On December 24, 2013, Joy News reported a sad story of the 4-year-old girl who was defiled by the 60-year-old Mason. The Joy News team later led the grandmother to lodge a report at the police station, which was subsequently followed by the district commander going to the area to send the 4-year-old girl to the police hospital where he is receiving treatment. Meanwhile, the police has assured it will follow the case to justice as served.
So far, preliminary investigation, disclosed that defilement will be appropriate, and he will soon be put before court. Defilement is not a bailable offense, and that subject is in custody, and we are just waiting, for the court to resume, from the festivities, and then we proceed from there. We've done whatever it takes. To complete our investigation.
Look at the fact that the grandma was given 150 cedis after the child had reported this incident. What kind of a charge does that also fetch?
That may mean she and the others who negotiated that unholy deal may be culpable for compounding, crime.
Is that a charge you're adding to defilement for the 60-year-old man and perhaps the grandma?
Since, the child is undergoing medical treatment at the police hospital, we're holding on to that, and it is the grandmom. She stays with the grandmom. The mother is not in the country, and the child only knows her grandmom. So for now, she is the one going up and down to the hospital.
Right.
So we may, have to devise a good strategy, to make sure that those who, in one way or the other, struck that unholy deal where they gave 1.5 million Ghana cedis, to the woman. We need to look at it so that next time round it becomes a deterrent to those who might want to do that. From sources, close sources, one, the mother is not in the country.
I see.
She is in Europe. And the father, we don't have much, about him. But it is the grandma who takes care of the child for some time now. And I believe that she's the only person the child knows. And taking her to the hospital and other treatment that we may require her to be by our side for now. But as I said, the law is no respecter of persons. When we so decide that those who compounded the crime need, to be taken to the court, we will do exactly that.
So the child is in police custody undergoing treatment. Now, let's talk about protecting our children. I have two gentlemen on the phone lines. Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni-Frimpong is the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. Bright Appiah is the Executive Director of Child Rights International. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, my sister, and good evening to your cherished listeners.
Right. First of all, let me speak to Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni-Frimpong, the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. Reverend Doctor, first of all, is society shirking its responsibility towards the children that we're supposed to take care of?
Yeah, the issue we are discussing now, quickly, it raises a question about public safety in our country at the moment.
Right.
And that also suggests that we need to take a more balanced approach to our development. At the moment in this country, attention is given to political development, economic development. But I think social development must also come to the center of public discourse.
Right.
There are real issues for social workers. There are real issues for those who are into counseling and all that at the moment. And if we don't do that, then we are safe, but we are not safe. Because innocent children and many more we may not even know. Thank God we know the story we are discussing.
Right.
How many more of such people have gone through that? That what do we do as a country also to make sure people are morally safe, people are psychologically safe? Because what on earth will let a man at this stage do that? People need healing, not only physical healing from diseases, psychological diseases that we may not know, and attention must be given. But this suggests that we have public safety and public security problem at the moment.
Now, if you can explain better, now if you say we have a public safety, public security problem, what exactly do you mean? Is it in terms of the fact that those who are supposed to protect us haven't done that, or society is simply ignoring rules and regulations that ensure safety?
You see, when you go into security, they have a multifaceted issue. There are some police and the law must handle. But when you go into mental, psychological side of safety, the police person, you may see a nice gentleman, well-dressed, but what that person will do within with his or her emotion is difficult to predict.
Right.
There are people on our roads, on our streets, in our communities who, seriously, let me put it in quotes, who are not well. You know,
right.
That now we must find a way of helping those people before they cause harm. There are people in our schools, there are people in our communities who are not well, who are harmful, but they are not like armed robbers. They are not like people we all think the police can easily identify. And we need to build our social structures in such a way that if somebody is having a mental, psychological problem, we'll be able to identify them and help them. Now, that is the side of public safety I'm talking about.
I'll come back for us to discuss how we can help these people. But let me speak to Mr. Bright Apia, who is the Executive Director of Child Rights International. Now, Mr. Apia, the concerns being raised now is that there are people working around in society who need help. They are not well, according to Reverend Opuni Frimpong. But looking at the Child Act that protects our children, is it indeed working?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, and I want to appreciate joining us for what they've been able to do, and also the quick response that the police also gave when you call on them. So I'd appreciate it so much from that angle. And then also looking at what doctor is saying, I think that clearly there are a lot of people who are walking on the street that do have one psychological problem or the other, which of course we need to also contemplate them in our actions. You know, but when you look at the provisions that we have in our laws,
right,
it is also meant to protect children from the hands of such people, so that at every step that we take, we'll be able to monitor the activities of such people. Because the framework for the development or the the drafting of the Children's Act was premised on a welfare principle, where everything that we do, our interest should be focused on the child, and whatever we do, we should have to contemplate that in our thinking, in our resolutions and everything. So the child is a central point in any welfare state when it comes to the development of children. So that recognition is there, and we have built that into that. So we'd have to develop a system that would also take children from the hands of such people, you know, so that we'll be able to deal with the issues the way they are, you know. But the difficulty that we have at hand now, that is making it very difficult for us to resolve this issue, is how closed the family system is, where it will be very difficult for you to monitor and investigate the family if there are issues concerning children.
Right.
If it hadn't been the intervention of Joy News, I think that the family would have just gone ahead to cover this up without the knowledge of anybody. And clearly, you can also associate some of the things that doctor is saying within the context of the family, where people rally behind the image of the family, the dignity of the family, to the detriment of the welfare of children. And that is a contradiction of the provision that we have. And we need to see how we can also deal with the ills that people practice when it comes to the implementation of the law, and then also how best we can deal with individuals when they have psychological issues. So it's a whole lot of things that we have to do. But I think that there's a lot of work that we need to do to educate people to know that the right of children in Ghana, it is not an ordinary thing that we need to joke with. We need to take it serious, because that is what the law says, so that we can give the children a better place.
Let's look at this situation where the girl is spending, we're told, as far as the information we have, is indicating that she was spending holidays with her grandmother. Now, under such care, the laws that we have, how protective can the law be?
Yeah, well, the law normally protects children in two forms. When it comes to where a child wants to go and stay with a family member, is either through adoption or fosterage. You know, this is where the law can come in to do that protection, because before the law can commit a child into the hands of any member of a family or any external person who wants to adopt the child, there's a processes that have been outlined within the law that you need to follow. So that gives some level of empowerment to the state to monitor the activities of that child. If there's something wrong with the child, the state can easily go in to see how best it can seek for redress for the child. But here is the case: we practice extended family, and we also practice a nuclear family system where my brother's children can come to live with me because of a festive season. They can come to live with me. So anything that happens, it happens within an enclosed environment. So it is very difficult for the law, for the state itself, to say that they want to monitor the activities of such people. You know, that is where the issue is. That is why all the time we have called for a stage where the state itself will enact a policy that will open the family system up for further investigation when it comes to the protection of children. So that if we do that, and even children are living with their uncles and aunties and all that, they would have that consciousness that when they abuse the right of that child, the law will come after them. But because of the way it is now, it is so silent, and there's nothing you can do unless the issue comes up. But if you open up the system where we will be able to investigate issues that are affecting children, we will be able to fish out those who are not fit to be in charge of children, and that's the level in which we are. But the way it is, it will be very difficult for us to say that there's a protection for children who live with their aunties, who spend holidays with their aunties and all that. That is where the difficulty is.
Before I go to Reverend Dr. Opuni Frimpong, the concerns that we have received in the newsroom after this story is indicating that, look, the 60-year-old man has been arrested. He will be put before the law, and if found guilty, he will be thrown into jail. But the young 4-year-old girl would have to carry this trauma throughout her life. Has the law made adequate, adequate measures to perhaps support these victims who go through such things?
Yeah, well, it is there. It is stated clearly that when you look at the welfare principle, which we have the 1 and 2, and the 2 is talking about the fact that even for a court to make any determination on issues concerning children, the best interest of the child should be of a paramount interest to the court and any other institution. So in that, then it implies that any decision that the court would take in relation to any issues concerning children, the welfare and the well-being of the child should be of a paramount interest to the court or the law. before any other determination can also be made. But in most cases and series of cases that we have witnessed over, you realize that the court is so much focused on the criminal aspect of it,
right,
neglecting that welfare principle that we have enshrined, that the court must also consider it when they are contemplating any determination. And that for us, it is something that they have not lived up to that expectation. And we think that they should be looking at that aspect very well, because the law as it is, when it comes to the welfare of children, it is not interested in any individual apart from the child. So whatever will put the child in a good state, whatever would protect the child, whatever would build the dignity of the child, is the focus of the law. And that is where the law should have its attention to. The law can deal with the criminal aspect of it in their own way because they have the power to do so. But when it comes to the welfare principle, and when it comes to the development of children, the law prescribes a certain process that we need to go through. That the court also have the power to determine the way and manner the child can be handled. But in most cases, you realize that they commit the person and then they leave the child and they go through a lot of trauma, and they also grow up becoming deviant and behave the way they have people have behaved towards them. So I think that we need to call on the judiciary to also take notice of that aspect of the law, so that when they are committing children who have committed crime against children, they would also make certain pronouncements that would also go to seek for the welfare of the child. For instance, the court do have the power to commit that child to any counseling session. The court have the power to commit that child to the hands of the state, the district assembly, because the law is also clear what the district assemblies would also do in situations like this, because they have a jurisdiction in terms of how we'd want to deal with children under their mandate and all that. So we need to also make sure that we commit such people to live up to their responsibilities. And I think that these are some little issues that we'll be dealing with when we enter next year. And since you have taken the lead, we would also join hands to see how best we can resolve some of these issues.
Right. I'll come back to, for us to look deeper into 2014. Don't drop your line here. Let me go back to Reverend Dr. Opuni Frimpong. Now, Reverend, you stated clearly, and Mr. Bright up here shares the same view, that there are people amongst us who are simply ill, not well, and running around us. Now, let's look at religion. Can religion deal with this situation?
It should, but let me also affirm some issues my brother has just raised. One, he raised the issue about human dignity, and then the fact that we need counseling clinics. Now, these are very important. Unfortunately for us as a country, at the moment, politics has taken a position is election, winning election, destroying your opponent. And so the very people we are to serve are going through pain and trauma. Children must be raised in a more relaxed environment. And now here we are. Now, back to the issue you have raised. Religion, whether Islam, Christianity, or any other, seek the welfare, the well-being, the dignity of the person. But the structures you put in place, you don't expect results when you are not investing. You must, whatever results you are expecting, one must invest in it. And so if you want a safe and sound society, a society that promotes human dignity, the rights of innocent people like children, the structures must be there. I must say, some of our religious bodies, also in terms of focusing, are becoming very narrow. There must be strong, healthy counseling programs that people can access beyond prayer. I believe in prayer, but people need help. You go into counseling, and how do you help people to discover their own strength and their own abilities and build their own inner strength? Now we need trained people in society, not even religious bodies. Elsewhere, you go into U.S. and other places, there are counseling clinics in society that any member of society, including religious people, can access. The rate people are committing suicide in Ghana, and this kind of stories we are hearing, periods like this, Christmas, suggest to us that our social system and social structures are breaking down, and we need to do something urgently as a country. But yes, religious bodies can help.
Some want to blame religious bodies for the breakdown of societal rules. Do you share the view?
It depends on who you talk to, because sometimes it depends if religion does not take a more balanced, a more pragmatic approach. And religion now in Ghana, for instance, if you have a church that will say that we will not even allow a woman, a pregnant woman, to go to hospital. You know, if you have such kind of religious and church bodies, then it's like religion is pushing us back into the dark. You know, but if religion will facilitate issues about human dignity and give education, sound education, and be fair and balanced to society, then I will take a different view. But we have instances where religious bodies, not only church, is in Islam, is in church, in traditional, that people are duping and taking undue advantage. Now, if you have such religious bodies, then, my sister, you can't be far from right.
You talked about the fact that our society has now been overtaken by politics. Everything we do has to do with politics. The attraction is destroying your political opponent, as such that we have neglected these things, like what we're seeing in the story, and it is becoming a border. Can we ever get out of it, and how do we do it? Let's wrap up on this.
We may need a more national debate in this country as what we want for ourselves as a people. You see, now Ghanaian interests are being sacrificed for political interest. You see, there are many people who must come in and help. But many people are now scared. You come in, they insult you. You come in, they destroy you. But can we reduce ourselves as a people just to political development? Where we have real social issues like suicide, rape, innocent children are being suffering. You know, these are not major issues for politicians. You raise it and they tag you whether you are under an umbrella or you belong to an elephant. And everybody is moving to a more safety ground. But for how can we live in this country like that? It is an issue, public interest, national interest, the dignity of the Ghanaian. We may need a public discourse, a public debate on this subject. My sister, people are unduly suffering in this country, but you must be very careful how you come into this public discourse, because somebody elsewhere is waiting to tag you and then push you to one particular political party or the other. But we need to be balanced. We need to be sincere to ourselves as a people and pursue the national interest, Ghanaian interest of our land.
Thank you so much. Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni Frimpong is the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. Let me wrap up with Bright Appiah, the Executive Director of Child Rights International. So, Bright, we're going into 2014, and you said that you're getting your loins for more action, particularly on this very issue of defilement and all that. Now, from what we have seen in 2013, is the future bright? Let's wrap up on this.
Yes, there are. I think because of the lot of issues that we have witnessed in 2013, we think that there's a lot of work that we need to do in terms of seeking for some interpretation to some provisions that we have within our laws and how we can seek for some level of protection for children. So we'll be doing that. Next year is going to be a good year for us as organization because there are a lot of things that would also be sent to the court to see how we can seek interpretation to that and then what the law thinks about some of these things so that we can make a ruling on some of these issues so that when a child goes through certain issues, we know that this has been the ruling of the court in terms of what we need to do and how we need to deal with children in this country. So let me use this platform to also assure the children of Ghana that next year we would do everything within our power to make sure that their dignity and their privacy is protected so that nobody takes advantage of them. And let me also congratulate Joinis for the tremendous work that you've done for children in Ghana, because almost every day you discuss issues concerning children. I think that it is something that we need to keep up
We take that commendation. Thank you so much for speaking to me. Bright Apia is the Executive Director of Child Rights International. We're wrapping up the first part of today's show. We have a few more hours to 2014, and I'm sure you are eager to be part of 2014, and I'm sure you will be part on this very particular network joining. So we're taking a short break. When we come back, we'll get into the interactive segment to let you get to us, and we will get to you on issues that we'll be raising here. This is a big story. Stay with me. I'm coming back in a moment. Thanks so much for staying there for today's big story. Time now to go interactive, and we're hitting the new year. Marianne is just joining me. It's a year that is people are expressing a mixed reaction. Some said, well, 2013 has been that bad. Quickly, let's jump into 2014. I just think that, well, let's hold 2013 a bit because it's been exciting. Where do you stand?
Those who are spiritual are hoping that 2014 will come because 14 is 7 times 2. So it's a year of double.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
right.
If it's a year of double, I don't know if it's double evil, then it's going to be extra double. If it's good, then it's going to be double.
And that's what we're talking about.
We're talking about New Year resolutions because most people wait till the New Year to say, from next year, I'll start doing this, I'll start doing that. But perhaps every day should be a day for resolution, or perhaps you break it up into 4 quarters to say, okay, I'm giving myself a target for 3 months. Within these 3 months, I should have done that. If you don't achieve it, you know you have extra 3 months to do that, and another, and then another. And perhaps if we do it like that, we won't be too hard on ourselves. Because if you look at it in the whole year, if you missed one, you're thinking, shoot, I missed this one. So next year. Yeah, meanwhile, you can do it over and over again.
So we're talking about that.
We're talking about resolutions.
Excited to hear what our viewers will say.
Of course, they have some really, really interesting things to tell us, don't they?
Marianne.
Thank you so much. Let's get interactive. My name is Marianne Toure. Welcome back. And before we sink our teeth into the resolutions that you made this year, whether you met them or you didn't meet them, and the ones that you're going to make in next year, let me announce all the social media tools that you need to get in touch with the show. Facebook.com/JoyNewsOnTV. That is where you'll find us. Like our page and comment on everything that we post there, and we will do our utmost to share with the rest of the world. We are on Twitter. You find us at Joy News on TV. That's where we tweet at. Remember to use the hashtag JNInteractiveGH, so be able to sort all your comments out and take them all at once. Joy News IM at mototvworld.com. So the email address that you should be sending all your correspondence to. And our WhatsApp number is 0260-518-801. I am on Twitter too, and you will find me at MN Toure. And JN Interactive is where tech meets news to set the agenda. So we are talking about New Year resolution. And in theory, New Year resolutions are a good thing. You know, it's all about improving something we don't like about ourselves, right? I am hoping that that is what it's all about. Except that our best intentions in January tend to survive just that month. After January, we just throw it away. But instead of feeling like failures, maybe we should focus on how to make, those resolutions so that they are easier to keep. And the 2 most common New Year's resolutions involve our health and our financial goals. And for most women, it is, let's say, getting married. In our part of this world, it's about getting married and having kids and all the family stuff. But according to, Melissa Berkeley, who is an associate professor of social psychology at the Oklahoma State University, content of the resolution doesn't matter as much as how the resolution is set. You can approach a health goal in a way that guarantees failure, or you can approach it in a way that will guarantee success. So we have a few things that I'd like to share with you about how to go about it so that you don't fail. But in the meantime, we'll go for our first video blog, and we've been out there asking you whether you even believe in New Year resolutions and whether they even work for you. Let's go and take our first video blog.
I strongly believe in New Year resolution. Yeah, I believe in it. It will depend upon the individual. Yeah, because it's a target that you do set for yourself. So it depends upon you, how you set those targets and how you want to meet them.
New Year resolution is very important because I believe that at the end of the year, one should be able to assess his or her performance. So it is critical to life. And for us, we use it to build up our life and whatever we do in our various workplaces. So it is crucial to our life and our nation building.
New Year resolution, it has been repeated several times. That what I always say that God should give me long life. And I believe that God has something for me to fulfill before I phase out from the service and presumably join the ancestors. So my resolution is that I work harder, give the best to my nation, because he who much is given, much is expected from society. Some of us benefited from free education by Kwame Nkrumah's administration. And if you look at how much people are paying for university education, so if you look at the private institutions, universities, then we had it free at the University of Ghana and other master's programs that we've done. And therefore, my resolution is that I'll work very hard, at least for the public to know that I've done my best. I'll come to office early as I do, be very objective, and insist of the do's and don'ts of the civil service. For the head of civil service is our employer on behalf of the president. Therefore, I will do my best.
Yeah, I believe in New Year resolution.
Yeah, I do. First and foremost, you have to commit them to God Almighty and be self-disciplined. If you are self-disciplined, you will work towards it. That's what I think you can do to achieve your New Year resolutions.
Of course, I believe in New Year resolutions. To my understanding, and in every human institution, where you really want to achieve your objectives and goals, what you just have to do is to have resolutions after every period. For instance, if this particular year, 2013, you have some resolutions to tackle. At the end of the year, if you feel that some were not achieved, what you just need to do is just feel satisfied, think about what you have been able to achieve and what you've not been able to achieve, carry them forward with proper planning, then I think you can achieve that.
Yeah, of course I do. You know, you have to plan ahead, okay? You have to look backwards in your life, then see the kind of things you've set for yourself for the coming year that you were able to achieve, and those who weren't able to achieve. Then those who were able to achieve, fine. Then those who weren't, then you have to plan ahead. Then think of doing more the coming year. And I think basically it's all about planning. So if you're able to plan very well, you can achieve your New Year's resolution.
So we asked the same people what their New Year resolutions were for 2013 and whether they actually managed to achieve them. We'll take our next video blog.
This year I have only two issues that I wanted to see at the end of the year. The first one has to do with my commitment to the things of God, and then the second one has to do with work. For me this year I was able to report at work on time, and all the plan that I have for this year I was able to accomplish.
This year I resolved that I have to take my marriage to the altar, and by God's grace it came to pass. And then also in the area of education, I'm just at the edge of graduating from my master's program. Yeah.
I've set a target for myself in 2013, but actually, I must be frank with you, it did not work to the fullness. Something like on 31st night, I told myself that looking at the impartation that was given to me, I told myself that I will never miss church. But I must be frank with you that along the line, because of one or two things, work and other stuff, I missed church, which means I did not work perfectly for me. Although, as at 2012, when we were entering 2013, that 31st night, I made a resolution, no, from henceforth, I'm not going to miss church service, and every morning I'm going to make sure that my morning devotion, I don't mix it along the line, because I have to rush for class and other stuff. I did miss it, so it did not work perfectly. But I'm hoping and praying that 2014 there will be a difference.
I'm trying to draft. I've not really done the final list, but I'm drafting it in my mind. I'm a Christian, so I'm thinking of improving my spiritual life. I want spiritual growth, so I'm praying towards that. Next year, I want spiritual growth. That's number one. Number two, I'm doing my national service, and I'll finish July next year. So I'm thinking of starting my career full-time next year. Number three, I want to help people as a Christian. I want to give alms. I want to make it a personal project, give to the needy and all that. Not just those who are begging, but even friends, family, anyone.
My education, but I couldn't achieve my target, and I'm hoping that come 2014, I'll be able to do that.
I've been able to achieve a lot. Well, 4 years ago, I had a plan of, being a graduate, a university graduate, of course, by the end of 2013, and I've been able to achieve that. I thank the Almighty Allah for that.
Welcome back. So before I take your comments, we have identified, research has identified 5 key things, that prevent people from achieving their New Year resolutions, and I'd love to share them with you. At least we'll share a few before we go and take some of our comments. And apparently number one is abstractiveness. It's one of the things that prevent you, from achieving your New Year resolution. And for this one, people tend to choose a resolution like I am going to lose weight, or I am going to write a novel, but those are very, very vague, to be realistic. So the key to resolving this is being very specific. So instead of vowing to simply lose weight, make your goal to say, let's say I want to lose 1 pound a month, and so from there you're going. And instead of even saying I want to write a novel, try and write, let's say, 1,000 words a week, and so you're gradually getting there. Make your resolutions more concrete, and this would allow you to better monitor if you fall behind. It would help you to monitor and say, okay, I fell behind, so let me do it better. And also number 2 is saying that, lack of accountability. When a goal is too abstract, it can also be hard, to be accountable for meeting it. So, tell other people about it. You can post it on social media. You can even share it with us, Joy News, so that we can also hold you, responsible. You can lie to yourself, but you can lie to so many people. And so once you share it, it makes it easier for you to follow it. You can use a lot of apps, or if it's weight you want to lose, you can use Weight Watchers app. There's some mobile apps that you can use to help you, to do that. And it allows you to track your progress and track the activities like fitness and eating and all that. Some will even send you reminders, to keep you on track, which can be very, very helpful when your motivation starts to flag. The third one is that, only setting goals for New Year's Eve. That is not the way to go. I think setting goals is great, and, we should do it more often. And research has shown that setting goals can make people, happier and more satisfied, especially when you meet those goals. And setting such targets just once a year, however, can be, self-defeating. So set smaller goals more frequently during the year instead of, singular lofty ones. Pick a goal for each month. Even if you fail, you can start over the next month and not feel like the whole year is lost, if you drop along the wayside. So those are the 3 that I'm going to share with you within this period. I'd like to share, some comments that have been dropping in on social media as well before we go and take our final video blog. And as always, we tell you what we're talking about, and then we ask you to share your thoughts with us, and then we amplify whatever you say on this platform and share it with the rest of the world. So, the precursor has already been set on social media, and we're saying that in theory, it is very, very easy to set New Year resolutions, and they are a very, very good thing to set. It's all about improving something we don't like about ourselves, right? Well, that's what I think, except that our best intentions in January don't tend to survive the month. So we're asking, what were yours? Did you achieve them? That's for 2013. We posted this about 4 minutes ago to make it as interactive and as live as possible 4 minutes ago, and 12 comments have already dropped. I'm hoping that you can see that and not me right right now so that we can all, get interactive together. 4 minutes ago, and 12 comments have dropped in. It goes to show how interactive you get with us. As soon as we post it, you pick it up and then, you amplify your voice with us. Emmanuel Asiedu says the New Year resolution is a checklist, and I believe if followed, it will be achieved. I achieved mine by God's grace whilst I wait for some of them to load. It do say FIFA Ball says CR7 the world best. You're winning the world best. That was for you, that he won the world best for it, or when is he supposed to win that? I mean, that I think the football year is rather different from the regular year that we have. The comments are still loading. That is what happens when you're using technology. So I guess whilst the comments load, I will take our last video blog, for today. We're asking you in that last video blog to share some of, your resolutions with us. Let's take it.
First, they need to have a vision. You see, that's why New Year resolution is something that I see to be good, because that gives you the vision, the target. And then what you have to do is that you have to work towards it. It goes with hard work and determination. There could be ups and downs, but you still have to keep on moving up.
I've not been able to accomplish 2013 target, so I must work on it to the fullness before setting 2014. But I might set some targets in 2014. That might be the minor. But those that I've not been able to work with it, just as I gave you in 2013, I must work it to the fullness before setting another target for myself.
At the beginning of every year, we are given our plans, audit plan for the year, and based on your approach for the year, you should be able to execute based on what your clients will respond to. So I was able to report on time and also communicate with my clients, and the response to also was okay. So that helped me to accomplish most of my plan for this year.
I completed Teachers Training College in 2007, and it was my target that by 2013 I should have a degree certificate, and that I've been able to achieve. Currently I am doing my National Service as Controller. I think it's a great achievement. What I'm aspiring or thinking of is that by 2014 and then I should be a worker.
Welcome back. We'll go to social media now and take the comments that have been dropping. Roland Yebo Fine Boy begins for us, and he says, Marian, good evening to you. I must be frank with you that I wasn't able to achieve all, but that does not mean I should give up on them. So all I intend doing is to add them to my next year's resolution. Marshall says, yep, I did achieve some of them, but hoping to achieve all next year. Newton Jeffert, I will say that 2013 is a difficult year for me, but I was able to achieve some of my resolutions. Isa, my New Year resolution is to be faithful to Allah. I do say, FIFA boss, the president should come home because things are hard. That is not your New Year resolution, is it? I'm doubting that it is. Ruben says, so me, some of us project very huge things. For me, I got the grades I wanted. What I want in 2014 is a bicycle, my greatest wish. I wish that you are able to get your bicycle. Baba Musa Tamale says it is good to set a New Year resolution. They must first be achievable and time bound, and just putting anything on paper or writing broad. Okay, Roland says, Marian, I know you will like to know my New Year resolution is to send you to Brazil. I like that. At least there's somebody who is in my mind and is able to get what I am looking for. So hopefully by May my ticket would have dropped so that I can go to Brazil, right? If that's what you're saying, then I'm expecting my ticket to drop so that I can go to Brazil and cheer our boys on. Thank you so much. Francis says they are good, but it works for self-determined people. Of course, you have to be self-determined to actually carry them through. Ita says, please, Mariam, always mention Kulo and leave the Isa. I prefer the local name to the Isa. Okay. Emmanuel, just say the New Year resolution is a checklist, and I believe if followed, it would be achieved. I think I took this one the first time. Ibrahim Moro says, Alhamdulillah, it has been great and appreciable. Joshua Dro, to intensify my Christian life the more, own a saloon car, proceed for my masters. I see. And may the good Lord help you achieve them. Mohammed Mustafa Lukman, we achieve new things in the new year. Justine says, it was to get closer to God through singing. And yes, God being by me, I have gone closer. Thank God. Hallelujah. Happy New Year to all. Van Fifi Johnson, I achieved most of them and still hoping to achieve the rest. Ken Amwako, I did. I got married. Oh, congratulations to you. You didn't invite the team here at JN Interactive. Well, we wish you all the best. Maybe when the babies drop, you would invite us for the naming. Francis said, I didn't set up resolutions for 2013. Christian Salvo, as for me, I did not achieve anything in this year except Christ Jesus. And that is something to be proud of, that you have God on your side. So it is something. Don't think you didn't achieve anything. At least you got closer to God. Francis, I want to be biblically spiritual in 2014. Biblically spiritual. Okay. You want to study the word more and get closer to God. So I guess perhaps that's what you're trying to say, biblically spiritual. Amen to that. We should all get biblically spiritual this year. George Wisdom, I had to achieve 2 goals. One, okay, you had 2. You achieved 2 goals. One was to pass your WASI exams, and the other was to gain admission to the university. Unfortunately, the exam didn't go well for me, but God being so good to me, I gained admission to, tech. That's nice. That was a miracle. It was really hard to accomplish these resolutions, but God being good today, I am happy, and I'm happy for you that you are happy. Everybody should be faithful to Allah as the New Year resolutions. Nana Yawadu. Yeah, I did achieve some of them. Godfred says, God's infinite blessings and favor. I wish to make changes in people's lives by 2014. What I like doing best. And of course, if you're doing something that you love doing, I mean, sky is the limit. Godfred says, God's infinite blessings and favor. I wish to make changes in people's life. Okay. Gizman, still waiting and hoping 2014 will be better. But for 2013, I have not achieved my target. God will need more of God in my life. Gordon Young says, my New Year resolution in 2013 was to pass my WASI and get admission into the university, and I was able to achieve them. Okay, I'll pause here and then we'll go and take the final batch of what to avoid if you're setting your goals. And number 4 was forgetting that you can't. You have to always put it in your mind that you can't control everything. People make their New Year resolutions, every year, only to get there and then realize that, hey, we cannot actually get to do that. Whilst that is a very positive goal, to say that some would say, I want to increase my salary. It is a very positive goal, but it requires a compliance of other people and involves other factors, such as a company's finances and the state of the financial market. That may be entirely out of your control. There is lots of research on the importance of autonomy in your goals. You need to focus on what you can control and acknowledge what you can't. There are some things that you cannot, but ultimately a raise is within someone else's hands. Your boss might have to decide that. So you can't just sit down and say, I want to get a pay rise next year. You can't necessarily control the ultimate outcome. Try other outcomes. If you're hoping for a raise, you can continue to be very efficient and effective at work, but focus on increasing your productivity instead of earning more. And sometime down the line, that might just get you the raise that you're looking for. But to say, I just want to get a raise, no. And then the final one will be relying on your willpower. The biggest misconception about resolution is that meeting them is all about willpower. Your ability to exert self-control is limited. So you fatigue very, very quickly. Sometimes just about 15 minutes, you realize, when you're reaching a very, very difficult goal, you're wearing out, and self-control, your muscles, you're just not getting there. And be more realistic about what's possible and what's not. There's nothing wrong with giving yourself a challenge, but making a resolution that is too difficult to meet would only lead you to breaking them. So don't even go there and don't exert your willpower too much. That is what I hope that at least we've been able to learn so much here on today's session. Let's take some more comments whilst Mr. Amfo joins me so we can wrap up the show together. And comments have dropped again. Let's take those final batch. And this one is coming from Isa, who says I should call him Kulo instead of Isa. Techiman MCE New Year resolution is very good for him, clearing all refuse dump in Techiman. May he keep it up. I was talking about yourself, not your MCE. Samoro Usu AJ says, I've never had any resolutions. I make sure I do my normal things and make sure I achieve my aims and objectives. Roland. Anyway, on a serious note, some of my resolutions for 2014 is to be right. I don't know. I'm not getting this one. You want to be the highest ranking person at your work through hard work, to get engaged to my girl lover and to reduce my chilling, and also to be in contact with God. That is that's nice, Roland. Very, 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 very nice. And I wish you all the best in 2014. Brightanful is back, so we can wrap up together.
Well, if you want to reduce your chilling, just get in touch with me. He should just get in touch with you.
Why? He should channel the money into your pocket.
No, I'll teach him how to reduce it. I have a way of doing it. Yeah.
But you can share it here.
I want to share. You know, when you do some of these consultations, you need to pay for it. Just get in touch with me. Now, at 8 o'clock, we'll tell you the prison service is talking about the congestion of our prisons, and they said that non-custodial sentences is the way out, even though we don't have the necessary infrastructure to facilitate its success. They believe that it can work. They are therefore announcing some new legislation that will be put before Parliament to put across the need for non-custodial sentences in our prisons. We'll tell you more about it at 8 o'clock.
And also to expect in news at 8, officials at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Accident Center say the number of cases reported during the festive season 2013 was better compared to that of 2012. Though they had no immediate figures, the center meanwhile recorded 4,187 road traffic accidents from January to December 2013.
Right, so we have all these stories and more coming up at 8 o'clock. And thanks so much for staying there. Tomorrow we'll wrap up for the year on today's big story. My name is Bright Nanamfo.
And my name is Marian Toure. We shall see you again soon. Do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.